Dear Abby Normals,
Welcome to Deeply Disturbing Things.
the podcast.
I'm Macie.
And I'm Naomi.
And I'm Sarah.
And
we're
that's
Sarah.
Three anxious counselors who like to talk about deeply disturbing things.
We're here to educate, enlighten, and entertain.
And have fun.
And we're going to do a mini episode tonight, just one topic.
Because I have COVID and I've been locked in my house and coughing and not able to talk for the last week. So
we're meeting via Zoom also for that reason.
Right. So I may mute myself on occasion if I start having a coughing fit.
That's great that we didn't get COVID because you were right in our space, right?
It was after that. And I know the person who ended up telling me they got sick the day after I was there. So it's like,
that's good for me and I then. Yeah.
Yep. You're out of the window.
Oh man.
So I haven't done a crime topic for a while, so I'm going to do a crime topic.
Crime.
Murder.
No.
It is murder, actually.
Oh, that's
I
convenient.
guess not all crime is murder.
There could be a heist.
Bank robbery.
A bamboozling.
There could be counterfeiting.
Lots of different crimes.
But mostly murder.
Mostly murder.
That's where my brain goes, straight to murder.
Right.
Well, that tells us a lot about your brain, Sarah.
Right?
It does. That's why you fit in so well.
Okay, good.
All right. This is a case from down in San Diego. Have you heard of the murder case that involves spellcasting?
No.
I lived in San Diego for a year in 2001, 2002.
It's fun to visit down there. It's quite toasty in the summer.
But where in the world is Carmen San Diego?
I used to watch that.
Go on.
I never watched that.
That's all I have.
In San Diego, I'm assuming.
I am getting into Dora the Explorer, though, for the first time ever.
That's exciting.
Because Stella's been watching it. Maya Millete was arrested and charged with murder in October of 2021. This was a full 9 months after his wife, Maya, went missing. He was arrested by a SWAT team at his house and was arrested on charges of first-degree murder and possession of an assault weapon. So during that whole 9 months, her family had been very, very active, holding rallies, holding vigils, advocating for justice, because they believed that Larry had something to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to show you a picture of her, but I realized I can't turn around my laptop to show you because you're on my laptop.
We're connected.
So maybe just Google a picture of Maya Millete, Millete, so that you can just have a person to go along with the context, I think is important.
Got it.
So just a few days ago, on January 25th, after 10 days of preliminary hearings, the judge determined that there was enough evidence and ordered Larry to stand trial for the murder of Maya. So it took 9 months to gather enough evidence.
I see this Larry. Mm-hmm.
Larry knew Larry has a ponytail now.
Oh.
This happened in 2021? Or she disappeared?
Yes. No, it happened in 2021.
Yeah.
But he just a few days ago, he's going to stand trial. That was determined just a few days ago.
Okay.
Larry knew that his wife wanted to end their marriage. So there's motive here. And Larry hoped to change her mind. And he hired multiple spellcasters to try to do this. So first he hired them to cast spells to help him win her over. And then he hired spellcasters to try to hurt her.
Ooh.
So Larry and Maya
Okay.
are Filipino Americans, and some Filipino individuals may hire spellcasters called Mom Baba rings to cast spells, either for yourself to help you or to, have some kind of outcome to people that you might not like. There's a huge online marketplace to purchase spells and hexes. So not just in the realm of Filipino Americans, because I Googled this. I was like, what is this all about? You can get all kinds of spellcasters for sale out there. And we did an episode on hexes. So
Mm-hmm.
go back and listen to that if you want more details about that. For many Filipinos, magic is a sincerely held belief. So we want to acknowledge that. I was like, well, what if I want to hire a spellcaster? So first I went to Fiverr, as one does. Fiverr, I thought was supposed to be everything's $5. I think that was when it was first created, but I haven't been on there a while.
Is it expensive now?
Well, spells will cost you 120 Fivers.
Oh, nice.
It's a lot of fibers.
It's a lot of Fivers. So you can get a love spell cast on the person of your choice, $125.
Hmm.
You can retrieve a lova spell. So a lover who has strayed away from you, $125.
Oh,
You can get your own protection spell, $125.
that's the going rate now.
I guess on Fiverr anyway, which is now a misnomer.
Mhm.
And then I specifically was like, I want to find a Filipino witchcraft website. And so I found one, and I couldn't see the pricing. You had to like write in. But there was a note at the bottom that said, I don't cast black magic spells for others unless I see it as justified. You need to consult me first before we do so.
Oh.
Mm.
So a little bit of ethics going on there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Back to our case. Between September 2020 and January 2021, Larry contacted spellcasters every day, and sometimes multiple times a day. So Larry's spending a lot of money, a lot of time and energy on spellcasting,
Mhm.
and he's trying to get help, trying to get his wife to stay with him and not leave him. So one text that he sent the spellcaster was, make her want to spend the rest of her life in the same bed.
Oh.
Another was, make her want to realize we're meant to be together. So things started to take a turn because these weren't working. And so then he started asking things like, quote, can you hex to have her hurt enough that she will have to depend on me and need my help?
Wow.
She's only nice to me when she needs me or sick, maybe an
Aw.
accident or broken bone.
Little misery here.
Mm-hmm.
The documents that were released by the court do not name the specific spellcasters that Larry hired, but he was a frequent customer. Larry's wife disappeared just days after she phoned 2 family law firms to make an appointment. So she was pursuing divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Maya has been missing since January 7th, 2021. So a little over 2 years now.
Wow.
Her body has not been found.
Mm.
Maya was last seen in the couple's home on that day, January 7th, around 5 p.m. 2 days later, her sister reported her missing. Her car was still at home and her phone went straight to voicemail. So family was getting concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And authorities say a phone maybe ran out of batteries, maybe was destroyed. There could be many reasons for the phone not working. There's record of texts to Larry and Maya in the last days. So if you get involved in a crime, every text you ever wrote is
will now be there.
it's just like, yeah, up on a PowerPoint in the courtroom. Every Google search you've ever done, they're gonna release that information.
You better remember that, Naomi.
It's a little bit terrifying. I know. I'm not gonna lie. So text from Larry in these last days before she disappeared. One said, "I'm not right and I'm about to lose it." And his Google search history on those last few days said, "How to subliminally train your wife."
Oh,
How to subliminally, so like, okay. I'm curious what that, and I might have to search that.
you want to use that information?
I mean, what do you think, like getting in the mindset here? What do you think's going on with old Lair in these last couple days?
I want to know.
Desperate.
Yeah, I want to know what it was that she was, in her mind was leaving him for. Why was she? Does it say?
There's an alleged affair.
Oh,
but there's always more to it.
Yeah, like
There's
behavior.
an affair.
Like some of these behaviors maybe that he was doing, like possessive, controlling, possibly.
And they were married, I think it said 20 years, so they're together for a long time.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes the spark dies out, and
or it was all of this stuff was happening, and she was just already getting fed up but was hanging in there, and then the affair was her reason to be like,
yeah,
I'm out.
I mean, from what I was looking into, she had been wanting to get out of the relationship for a while, but Larry would not allow it. He seems very like he was possessive of her. He wanted to control her. I think trying to get these spells going and trying to figure out how to subliminally train your wife. I think felt like he was losing control.
Yeah.
And was just very like you said, Macie, like just desperate.
Well, because it's finally probably going to happen, and so like, what do you do when she's making the calls? Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah. And Maya's search history in those last couple of days included several related to divorce and child support payments. So there's circumstantial evidence that she was trying to figure out how to leave him. I mean, I don't know a lot about the affair, if that was serious or not serious, if they're planning on trying to be together, or if that was, just more of a casual thing. But Larry was not happy. On the night that she disappeared at 9:57 p.m., surveillance audio in the neighborhood recorded 8 loud bangs. And I listened to this on YouTube, and it is creepy and disturbing, to say the least. I mean, it sounds like gunshots.
Yeah.
And it's 8. And so there's one, and then there's a few in a row, and then there's like this long pause, and then more. And so, I mean, of course, my imagination's running wild. Like, that's a lot of gunshots to be going on, and it seems excessive. Like, what were those other ones for? Because I'm assuming the first rounds were enough to kill her. Like, what were those other ones all about?
Didn't
like,
we?
What was that, rage, or what was that?
I feel like we talked about that before, if you're like an amateur murderer and it's kind of like a panic thing where you just want to make sure that you don't know if you actually killed them, and you don't want it to be like a halfway thing. So then you just go overboard.
Yeah.
Kind of. I don't know.
It's so loud. This is recorded by another house in the neighborhood, and you could hear it quite loud and clear. So there's a part of me that's like, evidence. This is not, I don't know. I mean, first degree murder, that's premeditated, but you got to know everyone's going to hear gunshots in your house, 8 gunshots. Right. So that part, is interesting to me.
Well, and it
That would be the
sounds
mode that you would do at home in the neighborhood.
well, and then I mean, then I'm assuming there's bullets. I'm assuming there's debris. I'm assuming there's mess. That's a lot.
Yeah. So that speaks to me as a little less premeditated. It's from my, amateur sleuth mind.
And like, did they have a family gun, or did he go and buy this for this? Like, did he already own one or not?
He had, I think he had more than one gun that
Okay.
he'd legally purchased, but I didn't look into that part too much.
Mhm.
In the audio recording that you listen to, there's either somebody crying out after the first bang,
Oh,
or it's a high-pitched dog barking. It's hard to tell. I listened to it a few times because the first time I listened to it, I thought it was a human crying out. But then when I listened to it again, I thought it was a dog barking. So it's difficult to tell, but it's very disturbing to listen to either way.
that's some pretty hard evidence there that happened the night she went missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but all the evidence is circumstantial. All of this.
Mm-hmm.
Because, there's
Because they didn't find anything.
no body, which I'll talk about in a little bit. There was no
And the
like witness.
house was cleaned up.
Well, there's an attorney that the family hired that got
Fingerprints
into the house a few
everywhere,
days
obviously.
later. He said there was a giant hole in the wall that had been recently patched over, and the freezer was missing.
Bum, bum, bum.
We did one remember where there was like the burn pit and like all the stuff like there was freshly moved burn, but like there's no evidence because it's been burned. But isn't the burn pit that's new enough?
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Right?
Is that the kid?
our fan Jessie called in and told us about
Right.
that. I think that was
Right.
where she lived in Alabama.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that was suspect, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
So then the freezer came back because evidence removed from the home included a freezer. So this is really sad. Prosecutors believe the couple's 3 children, ages 5, 10, and 11, were home at the time their mother was murdered, and during the entire time that Larry worked to dispose of the body.
Oh, man.
I mean, those gunshots are loud. Like, what was going on? Like, did they wake up? Were they asking questions? My mind is like running wild with this scenario, how that would work.
Well, and maybe why she was ramping up calls, as well as maybe he was getting more erratic in general. Maybe his, just his mental health was deteriorating, and that may have. So I don't know. Maybe his kids are already scared.
I
Yeah.
wonder when they question the kids, obviously they can't use leading questions, but just asking them the general, where were you? What was going on this night? You would think that they could read that the kids were getting nervous, or, that based on how the kids were answering questions, or if any of them would have slipped up, you would think that
like maybe they're threatened, you're thinking? Like to be quiet by the dad or don't say anything?
Well, did they didn't say anything?
I haven't found out a lot about the kids, which makes sense. They'd want to protect them, but the prosecutors have said that they were home. They believe they were home, and that not only during the murder, but while Larry was doing whatever work he was doing to.
Oh, I just found
dispose
pictures
of
of
the
the kiddos.
It's a cute family.
It's like two girls, like, I don't know, under the age of what, 11? And like there's like maybe I don't know, this at 7, 11, and what, 4 maybe?
Yeah. And so Larry has been trying to, like, his whole thing is she left on her own, and then the prosecutors are trying to counter with, no, she would never leave her children. And so some of the witnesses that they brought in were really speaking to witnessing how she was such a great mother and she was so full of life and bubbly and energetic, and that she wouldn't just
Leave her
disappear in the
abandoned.
night and leave her kids like that. Like that
Mhm.
would not happen. And she left her car, like, where, how was she walking down the street, getting an Uber? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there'd be evidence of that, you know.
Yeah,
It
I
just
just
doesn't make any sense.
Oh, they are a cute family. Dang.
The DA in the case said there's often a triggering event in homicide cases, and in this case it was the call that Larry's wife made to the divorce lawyer. And Larry knew about this call because he texted his boss about it, that his wife was, contacting divorce lawyers. And this is just right in the days before she disappeared.
Yeah, because he was trying so desperately to put the spells and to keep her, and it wasn't working. And then that was, she made that call to the divorce lawyer, and he's like, well, nothing I was doing has worked.
Yeah.
And this is
If I can't keep her, no one can.
It's that possessiveness.
Yeah, because he even got to the point of, well, maybe if she's hurt even. So the violent factor was even amping up.
Yeah, at first it was just make her love me, and then it was like, okay, hurt her so she can't leave, and then she'll be dependent on me. I mean,
but that wasn't
working.
Turn. So then,
yeah, obviously doesn't care about her.
Yeah, it's just a twisted way to look at a relationship. It's really, very self-centered. It's about my needs, not, I'm gonna have this person I supposedly love break a bone. Like,
yeah,
right.
Or the kids. Yeah, you're not
twisted.
even thinking about the kids either.
Yeah, it's so convoluted. So
well, that's if he did it.
Right. This is all allegedly. I mean, we have a justice system that we will follow.
It's not us.
I am not the judge or the jury. We are just discussing it. So these messages, to the spellcasters really started to ramp up. And one closer to when Maya went missing said, please punish Maya and incapacitate her enough so she can't leave the house. It's time to take the gloves off. Yes. And another point, he requested a curse on his wife so that she would get hurt on the family dirt bike so that she would be stuck on bed rest. So that really is sort of like the Misery book with the super fan that is going to hobble somebody that she loves to keep them, and really just not understanding how that is actually counterintuitive, like hurting the person you say you love, like that's not love.
No.
And Larry's messages to the spellcasters the day that Maya was reported missing pivoted to targeting his wife to targeting the alleged lover, who Larry blamed for, all these problems and why the marriage was failing. And then on the afternoon that she went missing, he messaged, I think she wants me to snap, and I'm shaking inside, ready to snap.
Larry is not taking responsibility for his role in a lot of this situation.
Well, and I wanted to talk to you all about, I mean, I know spellcasters are not mandated reporters, but I feel like as a spellcaster, would you report that you feel like something bad is about to go down to protect people?
If you're a dark magic person, then no, probably not. But except for that one who seemed like they were trying to be a little ethical.
They're trying to have a code of conduct.
Technically, all of his stuff is about what he's asking them to do. It's not technically him saying he's going to do anything.
Oh my gosh, I just thought of something. I wonder if there's ever been a case where a spell seemed to work and the spellcaster went to trial. Has that ever happened?
I don't know.
Like, what if he
I didn't
like
know about this.
messaged in, have her have an accident on a dirt bike and like it just happened that day?
Mm.
And that the word got out, would that spellcaster be culpable?
But then the spellcaster wouldn't have.
It'd be murder for
Given that-
hire.
Hmm?
It'd be murder for hire.
Or like
Right. Yeah.
broken
So
ankle
what,
for hire?
Yeah.
so what do those guys get charged with when they're found out?
But I mean, there's so many implications. If that was proved to be true, then you would have to admit magic is real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is interesting.
That is.
Well, okay, so is magic real? Is this how we're solving this?
I think if a spellcaster's convicted, that basically says, yeah, magic's real.
All right, let's do
Proof.
this.
Let's do this. Authorities obtained surveillance footage from January 8th, so the morning after she was last seen, that showed Larry repositioning his Lexus at 5:58 a.m., backing it into the garage so that no video could capture whether a body was put in the back of the Lexus or not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's weird, like, why are you backing your, like, it was probably facing the garage and then he probably pulled it out, turned it around and backed it in. Like, why are you doing that, Larry?
Right, suspect.
So that was at, what did I say, 5:57. So then at 6:45 a.m., so a little bit more than 45 minutes later, Larry drove off, leaving the kids at home, and didn't return home for 11 hours and 21 minutes later. Or maybe he took the kids. I don't know.
Suspiciously
I
long.
didn't see that. I didn't see what was going on with the kids.
That seems like about the right amount of time to go and bury a body and come
It
back.
seems about the right, like if you're going to the desert.
Right.
Like how long from San Diego to Vegas desert? Sarah, you're from Vegas. Tell us.
About 6 hours.
So, but then
That's
getting
too
back,
short.
that wouldn't work. Is there like a desert suburb that would be closer? Like a
Probably.
4 hour out away?
I mean, no, it's 6 hours to Las Vegas, but there's plenty of desert in between. So it's like, yeah, in between.
So you could,
anywhere between there.
yeah.
so you could get out there, find a secluded desert, dig, because you have to dig
Yeah,
a lot,
that's probably enough time.
and then get back in 11 hours. Okay.
Yeah. Well, how long does it take to dig up or dig down?
How long does it? Let me Google this and see how many flags I get on my name by the U.S.
How long
government.
does it take to bury a body?
And how long does it take to?
Oh no.
Well, according to some fictional shows that I respect, like Dead to Me and
Oh my gosh. I like that
Search
one.
Party, it's a lot harder to bury a body than you think.
It says it can stand. Oh, funeral. What are these people?
I tried to bury a little wooden trunk in the park for my son's birthday. I tried to do like a treasure hunt and I couldn't get
It's
more than
hard.
2 inches. I ended up hiding it in a bush.
I've tried planting flowers.
Can I? There's a list. So I put how long does it take to bury a body, and it gives me funeral stuff. Good job, Google. And then it in the drop down though, other recommendeds, it says how long can a body be kept after death. Another one said how long can a body be refrigerated before burial. How long can a dead body be kept in a freezer? Yeah, that's great.
They're coming for you, Macie. If you hear a knock at the door, you know why.
I'll just tell them I'll give you my COVID. Go away.
I'll cough on you. Yeah, so Larry's Googling some weird shit too, though. I mean, that's part of the circumstantial evidence.
Not like me, just in a separate way.
Right. And for it to be circumstantial evidence, it really has to be contextual to the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Larry told investigators he'd been at the beach all day.
Because that's what you do the day your wife goes missing. Like you don't, because he supposedly doesn't know where his wife is that day, right?
Well, he said she just went off on her own.
So he goes to the beach on the day that his wife is gone.
And when investigators asked him to show them on the map, which she couldn't really do that. So,
Oh gosh.
Mhm.
so you
Well,
might be
he doesn't
wondering,
want to show him where he buried the body.
Mhm.
I don't think it's at the beach. I believe it's got to be out of town, right?
It's in the
I mean,
desert.
that's what I'm thinking. Because it's accessible in that amount of time to get out.
I think it probably takes way longer to dig that and have it hidden and have it out of the way. I think it's probably closer than we'd think.
Closer. But I think the closer you are into town, the more you risk having somebody see
Right.
you. But this whole thing hasn't, I mean, shooting a gun in your home in a neighborhood, like that's not too smart.
He's obviously not taking precautions.
No, I don't think he's thinking clearly. I think he's an emotion brain for sure.
Why does the family think it was him? Like, why are they putting pressure and saying that they know it's him just because of how possessive he was and just knowing him?
Yeah, she'd been
Mhm.
unhappy in the marriage for a bit, since like 2020. And so they knew what was going on.
Maybe they've seen some violent behaviors, that he's had, or who knows what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was interesting, like when she first went missing, like her family was immediately like, what did Larry do? And his family was like, let's find Maya, she's missing. It was very split in the approach.
Yeah.
So you might be wondering, how can you file first-degree murder charges without a body? Because I wondered that too. So this is so fascinating. The deputy DA in this case explained that the Charles Manson case set a precedent for this. And so from the documentation from the People versus Manson in 1977, it says, the fact that a murderer may successfully dispose of the body of the victim does not entitle him to avoid prosecution. This is one form of success for which society has no reward. Production of the body is not a condition precedent to the prosecution of murder. I thought that was so interesting.
That reminds me of the murder case where the guy had put his wife inside of that barrel or what, like that big truck barrel thing, but they couldn't find her for a long time, but they were pretty sure he did it.
What case was that?
I'm trying to remember. It was
that Scott Peterson?
What was that?
Maybe.
I'm gonna
That's an
look it up.
interesting case. That would be one
That was.
I would cover on the podcast. I was thinking about today, it's like, if I'm going to cover like a murder case, which is obviously, true crime is a true experience for some family, like there has to be a reason I'm covering it. And for this one, I was originally, unfortunately, there's murders all the time in this country. There's been a mass shooting every day this year in this country.
No.
So there's way too much murder and killing. And I don't want to cover things just, to be exploitative or like be graphic. Like there has to be something. And this one, it was the spellcasters thing that was like, wait, what?
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what is this about? And it kind of drew me in. And then
it was
I wanted to learn more about like I want to know about the people, like the victims, and like what is their story, what was happening with them, and hopefully shine a light on them as humans, and honor their memory that way.
So it was Scott Peterson and his disappearance of Lacey Peterson.
Yeah, I remember that being very long, like a long drawn out thing.
Yeah,
they couldn't
very fucked up. Was there a baby involved at some point?
I think so too. Yeah, I'd have to dive into it, but yeah.
I think that would be a good future topic.
It would.
I mean, especially when there's like a lot of psychological stuff that we can like wrap our tentacles around.
So can you say that one more time about somebody can be, is it charged with murder without
Yes.
the body
Yeah.
Like you
That's
don't need to
based
know
on
The
suspicion?
Charles Manson case
Right.
set the precedent for this.
based on
Yeah.
evidence without a
And-
body.
And it's
Evidence
about,
without a body, not just
Mhm.
suspicion.
Right.
so there's circumstantial evidence in this case.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
where the precedent lies. And the whole foundation of this is that we should not reward a killer because they were so savvy in hiding a body.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no benefit to society from that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so you don't need to produce a body to prosecute for murder.
Mhm.
And I didn't know that. I'd always thought, maybe from watching too much crime shows
They
that
had to find the body to make it
there
like,
had to be a
seal the
body.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like no body, no charges or something,
Yeah, that's like rewarding them for, oh yeah, you
Yeah.
good enough for cleaning it up so well, but
Yeah, good on you. You're so smart. And so this precedent from way back then really said, no, we're not doing that. There's no reward to society
Yeah.
for like honoring success for hiding a body.
And that
Yeah.
helps for like old cases. So like if they find new evidence or say new DNA evidence comes out, it helps them be able to still prosecute versus, well, it's, it's too old.
Yeah, yeah. And so prosecutors say the fact that Maya's body has not been found is actually evidence that death was caused by criminal means, because it's highly unlikely that a person suffering natural death would
Not be
dispose of her
found.
own body.
Right.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You'd find her somewhere. Someone would find her.
And so when Larry went out that day for his beach trip, his 11 plus hours beach trip, he did not take his phone with him.
Mm.
Who does that?
People
In
that don't want to be
today's day and age.
tracked by their phone.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, even I can't remember his name, but the guy Kohlberger, who's the suspect in our local quadruple homicide.
Mm-hmm.
Even him, as a criminology student, took his phone with him.
Mm-hmm.
He turned it off while he was at the house.
Just during that time.
Just during that window. But, I mean, that does speak to some suspicion to me. That you
Right.
There's
wouldn't
a
take
lot
your phone.
of suspicious things going on with Lair.
I mean, if I drive off on a big day and I realize I don't have my phone 20 minutes out, I will turn around and get my phone. I will go back.
And nobody spends 11 hours on the beach. I'm sorry. Like it's 4 hours, you're toast, you're done. You want to go home. Like it's.
Good point.
And there was no.
Was he sunburned? Was he sunburned?
Yeah.
Oh
Was
my
there
gosh,
sunblock?
yes. Oh, and this is January. Like, what are you doing out there? January
Yeah,
7th,
alibi.
January 8th?
None of this makes sense.
Did he have aloe vera on him?
They
I want
needed
to.
a test.
I want to see the 3rd-degree burns.
Right.
I mean, this is not looking
He
good
could
for
have got
Lair.
burned out in the desert though. Just
That's
out
true.
there.
That's well, but
True, Sarah. He could have
his-
said, "This is proof I was at the beach. Look at my sunburns."
so he
Mhm.
went and did this during the daytime.
Yeah, he left his house at 6:45 a.m. and didn't return for
But
11 hours and 21 minutes later.
The gunshots happened that night,
Mhm.
and then
The night before at 9 something, like right before 10 o'clock. So I'm concerned that's a 5-year-old. Like you're leaving your 10 and 11-year-old to watch a 5-year-old all day. I mean, that's not good parenting. I let Skylar start being alone when he was like 9-ish for a short periods of time. But not babysitting.
Or at least not for that long, unless there was some major crisis you were.
No,
trying
it might be
to-
like, I'm gonna go outside, like I'm in the yard watch,
Yeah.
your brother for 5 minutes.
And wouldn't he take the kids with him to the beach if he was really going to the beach?
Yeah, it's just none of it makes any sense. And so that's why there's suspicion. That's why there was suspicion from the family right away. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, this is not our family's character to not answer your phone calls, to just disappear, leave your car at home. It's a dedicated mother. It was the daughter's birthday 2 days later too, and there was a big family event planned.
Oh.
She was very family oriented. And just hearing from the family was really heartbreaking. Like, they want their daughter, bring her home. Like, that is closure. Like, they want to know what he did with the body.
Yeah.
They want the story. And so there actually is a possibility of a plea deal that could potentially happen if, so Larry would get a reduced sentence if he revealed where she is, but not only that, but like what happened, like details around it, which would help give the family that closure. So that would be like the reason for allowing that reduced sentence, to give the family closure. Because gosh, that's heartbreaking to not know like where your person is. Like, we get attached to that physical body and we want to lay them to rest.
Yeah.
It's part of the closure.
Yeah, and I'm even surprised that Larry, it wasn't, you hear a lot of the times where a husband or even a wife, more so you hear like the husband will like shoot the family and then kill themselves. And so for the fact that he just killed her, but then it's like it was the whole idea of, if I can't have her, nobody can have her, but I can still go on living now.
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of, weird.
Like, what does that like say about him?
Yeah, he just wanted her as a possession.
Like, the humanity didn't matter to him anymore.
Yeah.
I wonder if he like that started because it would be like losing face. If he had some measure of success, and like part of that was having this beautiful wife and family image, and her leaving him would somehow make him look bad,
Possibly.
like not be as successful. Like, maybe that was a measure of success for him.
Yeah, like a failure.
And that could feel life-threatening psychologically.
Yeah.
Well, and he may have built up a lot of dependency on her over the last 20 something years. And maybe didn't. So even though he seems like, it seemed rushed, right? Like, it wasn't well thought out. So maybe he didn't really know what he was going to do after that point. He just acted on that part.
Yeah.
I'm here. Sorry, I was having a coughing fit in the background.
No, I figured.
At all.
Well, that's all I got. Any last comments?
So, okay, so right now it's pending. Where does it sit right now?
Right now it sits that he's going to stand trial.
Okay.
The prosecution was able to present enough evidence that the judge said, yes, he will stand trial for these 2 charges, first-degree murder and possession of an assault weapon.
Okay.
And so right now he's pleading not guilty to these charges. So we'll see what happens forthcoming. I mean, all these 10 days of preliminary hearings was just presenting enough evidence so that the judge would be able to proceed with circumstantial evidence.
Right.
And during this time, he still has the ability to, we don't know if they're going to offer a plea deal, but hoping for that, or they will.
That's just conjecture. You know how people like talk on these talk shows, they bring in experts like, could he get a plea deal potentially?
Yeah.
Expert says, yes, he potentially could in this case for these reasons.
So we'll see.
And they presented, like other cases where a plea deal was given to reveal, what happened with the individual's body, because
Wow.
it's important to families.
Yep.
Well, and that's to me where we'll kind of see, is this mental health or is this narcissism? Is this like a, what is behind his drive for what happened if he did do it? Because
Yeah.
if he, I don't know, because if he takes a plea deal, it's kind of like an ego thing to me. Like, oh, okay, so you're willing to do that because you care about yourself so much.
Right. And I'm curious if they're going to bring any of those spellcasters in and say, you're an accessory to this because you
was ramping
agreed
up.
to do these spells that would harm this person. Also, you didn't report this. I mean, I guess they're not mandated to report it.
Yeah, they don't have to, go.
But
through
if
like
they agreed to do a spell that would cause harm to her, and harm did come to her, are they culpable?
I mean, legally, probably not, but
Yeah, 'cause they can't really prove that. They can't prove.
but what they can say circumstantially is for him, his behavior was showing a pattern of behavior that led up to her disappearance.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
Is that something that someone might do before they murder someone? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's clear homicidal ideation that was demonstrated.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but could someone do that and not murder someone? Sure.
Yeah, none of the texts that they printed out were like kill her.
Right,
It wasn't
right.
that explicit. It was like break a bone or
Mm-hmm.
have an accident. It was that
Which
kind of thing.
does tell you though that one, he's smart enough to know that there's a line, like that he can't message these people and ask them to murder her.
That's a whole different account you sign up for.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, because he could have sent those things if he didn't understand truly what could be reportable.
Yeah,
But he didn't.
Yeah,
I don't think that they don't have to report that. I mean,
no, but if he disclosed, like, I want you to murder someone, someone's probably going to be more likely to be like, okay, this is an issue, versus, hey, can you through magic make her hurt so she stays home? Like, that sounds less threatening than I want her dead.
Yeah, I mean, if I was a spellcaster, I don't know if I'd want to get involved in like physically hurting people like that.
You're a good witch.
Yeah, it just seems like
for $125. Some people may do a lot of things.
It's true. That's true. I guess never say never.
I mean, I'll say never to this one, but well, good topic.
All right. Well, if you didn't listen to our last podcast, I answered definitively the question, do eggs come out of a chicken's butt?
And you can decide if you want maggots to treat your wound that your captor places on you through a hex.
That's true. And if you want to financially support us, be our patron on Patreon. It's only $1.
Thanks.
Until next time.
Oh, yes. Until next time. Be careful what you Google.
Only ask spellcasters to cast good spells. Don't mess with dark magic.
And if you're a spellcaster yourself, maybe create your own code of ethics.
I feel like it's very karma-ish.
Guidelines are good.
Yeah. Don't put bad stuff out there because it's going to come back to you.
Time free.
Yeah.
Hefty disclaimer.
Bye.